Hey Craig, thank you so much for being with me today. And I've got one important question. What on earth got you into the position of being the president of Exit Realty in the US?
It was by chance, actually. I don't remember asking for the position. It just kind of happened, and it's a long story, but I'll keep it short. We can talk a little bit about my past, but when I came into this company back in 2004, I came in from an outside industry of the construction business, and then got into real estate as a licensed salesperson. And I decided right away that I like working for myself better than I like working for other people. So my partners and I, decided to buy an Exit franchise up in northern Michigan. And as that developed and we started building brokerages, we ended up becoming regional owners a couple of years later for the state of Michigan. And as we started to enter the recession, our company was overseeing and going through some changes at a regional level for the entire country. So I started to help out the corporation more and more by coaching and guiding and helping some of our existing brokers throughout the country. And that really led me to a position of leadership and at the executive level. And then ultimately, the leadership at Exit asked me if I would come and work with them to help them build and grow this company from a position of really kind of a regional, what I would call a divisional president, and that ultimately evolved into becoming the president of the United States for Exit. So it took 14 years, but again, it was nothing that I was really thinking that I was going to be doing. It just kind of happened, and I just couldn't be more proud, more humbled as with what I do in this company. It's a blessing for sure.
So that's a big undertaking. What's your why and behind the reasoning for waking up so early and staying so true to working those hours?
Well, that's a great question, and everything starts with a why, right? We all got to know why we get out of bed in the morning. And my life has always been one of self-discipline. I've always really been able to focus on things and compartmentalize and just stay true to what I want to do. And the thing that I found with this company, with Exit Realty, is that we truly do care about our people. We have a culture unlike any other company I've ever experienced in this business. Like I say, I've been affiliated here for 14 years now, but I've experienced almost every brand out there and many of the independent brands. And there's a lot of good brands out there, but one thing we work really hard to do is just take really good care of our people. And so that's really the why for me is that I believe that this is a movement. The Exit Realty franchise brand is a movement. It's something that we take very seriously, about not just making money, but about improving people's lives and making them better human beings, better professionals, better spouses, partners, friends, all those things. If we can solve that problem at the humanistic level, they'll be able to perform better as professionals. So that's what it is for me, is seeing this company grow and develop, and just the culture and this cultural shift over the last decade or so has just been such an impressive thing. And for me to be able to be part of that at the leadership level, leadership matters. And it's what I say and what I do, along with my other coworkers here at the leadership level, and all of our regional leadership as well, as to how we form and shape this company, and keeping true to the message that we really want to pass down.
Now, that message certainly would evolve over time. Back in the day when you were just a person buying into the franchise, like you were just going to get one office, what was
Yeah.
it that you may not have known the culture at that level back then? So what was it that attracted you to the company? Was it a business model that they had? Was it the marketing? What attracted you to wanting to open up that franchise? Because you would have had other options back then, for sure.
Yeah, I did. And my partners and I looked at other options. We actually looked at other franchise brands, and we ultimately kind of started our company out as an independent consulting and land development company. And we were in business for a few months doing that when the exit model stumbled really at our feet. And my whole life, I like to do things different. I don't like to follow the sheep off the cliff. I like to do things a little different. So from the cars I buy to the boat I have to just how I run my life and the business that we do, my past construction business, we did very unique specialty things. So we always want to be a little bit different. We didn't want to be like everybody else, because we wanted to have a niche. So when I discovered Exit with my partners, it was so different. And we had done a lot of research on other models, from the traditional models all the way to the 100% pay-to-play desk fee models. And they were all really basically two-dimensional, taking listings, making sales. There was no real retirement built into it, or no vested interest for the agents to be able to create wealth. They were just normal humdrum companies, and been around for a long time. But I saw the exit model, and we first fell in love with the business model. How do we build something and create wealth, and then help other people, our agents, also create wealth so that they're not just living paycheck to paycheck anymore. So the exit formula really caught my attention. But what really did it for me, Dan, was when my partners and I actually went to Toronto, Canada, and we went through the broker training course in Mississauga, and we got to meet the leadership, and we got to see our head office. We got to really look under the hood of this company, because my biggest concern was, again, if I'm going to invest in something like a franchise with a new brand, what am I buying into? And is this going to be a privately held company? Or are they going to just sell us to the highest bidder someday? Who's running the company, and who am I really getting into bed with, so to speak? So when we went up there and got to meet Steve Morris and Tammy Bonnell and Erica Gilio and all of our corporate staff, it really sealed the deal for me. It was everything that they told us came to fruition at that time. And then we knew that we were making a good investment. And that's why we started multiplying and building multiple offices and making more of an investment in this company. And it's been everything in that and more for the last 14 years since we've started with this company. It just continues to get stronger and better.
Can you explain that sponsorship piece of the business model? I mean, it's interesting because a lot of people, they retire to get out of whatever they're into real estate. So people retire into the business. It's weird. This is a weird business. But then once a person's in this business, not a lot of people retire out, because it's like, you're as good as your last deal. You helped a buyer or a seller. But if you don't do that, some people don't have the systems to pass that on to somebody else, where it truly is a passive business. And so can you explain how you guys do have a little bit of a passive?
We do, and we've got, what we do is we've really started beating the drum of having a differentiator with this company. We've always had the exit formula that Steve developed way back in the early years of this company when he launched it in 1996 in Canada. But the whole idea was that Steve's background was one of an experience with residual income, which came from the life insurance business. It came from him working in the makeup business with Revlon, and then he was also on the floor of the Toronto Stock Exchange. So he had a firm understanding of residual income and how ultimately people were just, if they didn't have some sort of passive income, they were always just going to be living paycheck to paycheck. So when he really started to identify the real estate business, working for a previous company that had a very high commission-based business, so it was almost 100% company with a pay-to-play desk fee system, he thought, these real estate agents are working their butts off. They're working really hard. They're making a lot of money. They're making a couple $100,000 and they're spending more than they take in. But at the end of the day, what happens if they catch a cold? What happens if they get sick? What happens if they get into a car accident? Or they're ready to retire and they want to move out of this business and transition into the rest of their life? If they haven't saved any money, or if they haven't been smart stewards of investing in rental properties or some other income producing opportunity, they can't retire. They have to continue working every day. And I think that's why you see such a large number of real estate agents that are in the higher age bracket now. And to be honest, there are agents out there that work in their later years that just love selling real estate and they don't want to retire and they just want to continue. But many of them are burned out. Many of them want to sell, but they haven't been, especially emerging out of the recession, which we have over the last few years. A lot of these agents have actually spent their money, their life savings to stay in the business. A lot of children are moving back into their homes with them, so they've got to have that additional income to help carry that additional burden. But ultimately for us, the secret sauce for us and our differentiator has been the exit formula. And it was Steve Morris's idea of residual income that really reinvented real estate. And there's a couple of really important points to that. And one is that Steve wanted it to be single level residuals. He did not want the multi-level platform. He wanted it to be person to person, where there was a mentorship and a coaching incentive for people to help each other. And the other was he did not want it to be profit sharing. And that's an important thing, because if an office is not profitable, there's nothing to share. And if a company does not make profit, there's nothing to share. So no matter how hard one individual could work, if they work really hard and make their particular office really successful, that doesn't mean that the brokerage is going to be profitable. Therefore, they may not be able to enjoy that. So the whole idea of single level residuals was really revolutionary in this business. And what it's done is it's what we call our 10, 7, and 5 exit formula. And that is that we allow our associates to introduce other people into our company. And if they're hired by that managing broker or that owner, they then can receive the equivalent of up to 10% off the top, the gross commission of any agent that they bring into the business, up to $10,000 a year. So for example, if you're working at another brand and I introduce you into our company, as soon as you join our company and you go out and make a sale, I enjoy the equivalent of 10% off the top of that gross commission income. So if it was a $5,000 commission that you earned, I get 10% of that. So it works out to be about a little less than $500 is what I would get. And we do that through e-business. So it's instant financial gratification. But what it does is
And in my area, the commissions are like over 10,000.
They are. So. They could be 10, 20. I mean, we've had people that have sold commercial properties, and that person that introduced them to the company limited out on their $10,000 with one sale. That happened out in Montana a few years ago. So, but the whole idea is this. This is not smoke and mirrors. This is about how do we put a system in place where we can actually have a real estate agent be able to do their business, earn a wonderful income on their commission-based sales, but also help us build our business by bringing in good talent. It's not about just bringing in good salespeople. It's about bringing in good human beings, good people that want to get up and go to work every day and generate a good income. But it's also about now leverage. The hardest
doesn't come out of their pocket.
Doesn't come out of their pocket. It doesn't come out of their commission. It comes off the top of the gross. And there's a couple of points to that. First and foremost is most franchise brands have a royalty fee that comes off the top. So before anybody gets their money, that 5 to 10% gets chopped off the top, and it goes to that company, whether they're publicly traded or private, doesn't really matter. But that money comes off first, and then the broker and the agent get to split their portion. With us, we believe the agent's the most important part of our company, so therefore we pass that 10% right back to that person that sponsored that person into the company. So it's a way, one of the hardest things, Dan, in real estate brokerage is recruiting agents. And that's usually the job of one person in an office. And it's usually the owner, right? So not only are they trying to sell and run a company, but they're also trying to bring talent in every single day. And there's no incentive for agents to bring other people into the office because that's really just increasing the competition. But when you have a model like ours, where all the agents now are out on the street finding good people that have good talent, introducing them to the company, it takes a lot of the burden off of that broker owner. And it also creates this mentorship where you've got an agent that maybe does a couple $100,000 a year, Dan. Maybe they've been in the business for 20 years. They've got a lot of wisdom. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to bring in a newcomer into the business, pass down that wisdom to that person, and teach them everything that they know? And ultimately, what we want them to do is start thinking about not just creating wealth and generating that passive income so that they can live and have opportunity and choice, but also so that they can start thinking about retirement. And what we did is we've actually allowed them to have a 7% residual once they go part-time or once they go to retirement status. So that 10% then goes down to 7%. The purpose
so even when they retire, go live at the beaches, they can still earn that passive income.
Absolutely. It's mailbox money. And again, it's not smoke and mirrors. It's real money. So, if an agent perhaps that's worked their whole career in real estate and they want to retire, they can basically pass their book of business down to somebody that they've sponsored into the company. And every time that agent sells a property, that person gets 7% while they're down on the beach. So again, it's just one more way to give agents the ability to, what I would say, exit this business from the legacy that they created and to be able to enjoy that. And then the ultimate step is our 5% beneficiary residual, where if something happens to that agent, they end up passing on 5% of the production of all those agents that they sponsored in while they were alive working with Exit Realty goes to their beneficiary or their loved one. So we wanted to make it more than just the agent. We want to pass them through retirement and even take care of their loved ones after they've passed on.
So that even helps, like recruiting is a very challenging sport to be in. So anybody who's thinking of opening a brokerage, that conversation right there is probably what would put a lot of people over the edge. If it doesn't put them over the edge, at least it would give you something to call people up and say, hey, have you ever heard about this? I want to share something with you. So it creates a good door opener as well.
It does. And, we're not a recruiting company in the sense that we expect our agents to run out and take that on as a job.
No,
All we're saying is be a talent scout. And if you do a deal with somebody that you think would be a good fit for our office, introduce them to our broker and let them do the heavy lifting, but just introduce them to us so that we can have a conversation with them. Real estate is all about timing. Not just buying and selling a home, but it's also about agents making a move. It's got to be good timing, and that's a tremendously emotional experience for them to have to get new business cards and tell their clientele why they just switched from this brand to this brand. So it's hard. So it does take some time and it takes some finesse. But at the end of the day, what I always say is this better than what you've got right now? Is this a better opportunity for you? Do you have children that are getting ready to go to college and you have a savings plan put in place to help pay for that college to put them in, or do you have aging parents that you need to take care of? One of the other things we're really proud of that works really well for us is our ability to do mergers and acquisitions with other companies. So for example, if you've got an independent brokerage out there that's got a baby boomer owner and they're sitting there thinking, okay, I'm just waiting for somebody to show up and write me a check so that I can get out of this business and retire. What if I showed up with my exit model and I came to you and Dan and I said, okay, Dan, you've got 20 agents in your office. How about if you could retire right now, get 7% off the top of every one of those agents, you sail off for the sunset, we'll flip the brand into exit. They join my office. So rather than me writing you a check for $50,000 or $100,000, how'd you like to have $100,000 a year for the rest of your life?
Yes. And that's a huge opportunity for this industry right now, because the industry is aging, like we already said. And so from now to the next 10 years, there's going to be a lot of trading of one brokerage becoming another, or like teams dissolving and becoming brokerages. And there's going to be a lot of trade-offs and people changing flags. Mm-hmm. And the conversions is definitely a big area for you guys, I'm assuming, because like, man, that's who I would be targeting as conversions. They've already got the agents under them. Do you guys have a system for when somebody is thinking of converting and they want to go into you guys? Do you have like some sort of game plan that you give them?
Yeah. We do. Most franchises do. Most franchises have, what I'd call kind of a franchise sales division and things like that have systems in place. And we do as well. And obviously I'm a little biased. I like to think that we do things a little bit better because, again, we use the human being component instead of just the system. A lot of this is hand-holding. A lot of this is reducing the amount of anxiety on this person making this transition, because all they see is lost business, expense. They're buying into our model, which means they've got to write us a check to buy a franchise. So it creates a lot of anxiety. So our goal with our systems is always to make that as painless, seamless, and as transparent as possible. So all the way from the top of our company, which we're a very lean company, we're a privately held real estate franchise. We have a handful of people in our corporate office in Mississauga, but they are dedicated to the franchising system, in the sense that broker transition plans, agent success plans, where a new agent comes in and how do they get acclimated and up to speed, a new broker that makes the conversion into exit realty, what does that mean for them? And a lot of that has to do, again, with what I call our 5 pillars. Everything from our training, our branding, our technology, our culture, and then ultimately our exit formula. Each one of those things is a vital component of a new brokerage starting with our company, making sure that they're trained properly so that they've got everything that they need to get up to speed, making sure that we help them rebrand themselves in their community so that everybody knows that they're an exit office now, making sure that they're up to speed on all of our technology that we provide and make sure that we've got them trained properly on that. Ultimately selling them on this corporate love affair of our culture, making sure that they fall in love with our company so that they go out and evangelize in their marketplace, and we weld them into the company. And then the last component being our exit formula, where we get them to really believe and understand how this can not just provide more income for people, but it can actually change their life. So our corporate office provides a lot of that leadership. Myself, I do a lot of coaching with our new brokers. We plug them into our training systems. We have archived webinars and training modules, everything that you can imagine. If we can reduce that curve, that learning curve, it'll reduce that anxiety. We want to have them start the path to profitability, we call it. We want them profitable right away. And that takes time. It takes 60 to 90 days. And they just need to understand that up front, that this is not going to be a quick kill and you're going to turn a profit in the first week. But by the time that happens, and it happens really quickly, you're going to realize this is the best decision that you've ever made, and you'll be part of our family. You'll never go anywhere. Those
5 pillars sound like the difference between a franchise versus an independent, because an independent would have to reinvent that whole wheel. Plus, They don't have the scalability, because you can buy things much cheaper because you have so many more offices and agents that are buying into it. So it reduces the overall cost. What are the differences between a franchise and an independent?
That's a great question. And I was always an advocate of being an independent. And I've got a lot of respect for a lot of our independents out there, because there's some big ones that do it really well. We've got one in Michigan that does a really good job. But it comes at a price. And at the end of the day, you've got to have a better mousetrap. So let's talk about that for a minute. Yeah. We talk about recruiting. Why would an agent move from one company to another company? Typically, people like to think it's because of money. Like, I can get a better commission split over at brand X. Many times they move because of leadership, because their person in their brokerage just was not getting them to the level that they felt that they wanted to be, or they outgrew them. So they move for leadership. But the real difference between independents and franchises is that an independent's a little hyper local, so they really do well in a geographical region around their own home marketplace. And a franchise has the obvious reach across the country and in some cases globally. So like some of the big brands out there. So referral opportunities and training opportunities and buying power and all those things. What we like to say is that being privately held, which again, that's a big differentiator for us because many of the big franchises now are publicly traded. So, there's a saying out there that says that when the public money comes in, the heart of the company goes out. And we, being privately held, the heart of the company is still very much alive and well at exit. So people are buying into that culture. So to convert an independent into our brand, we have to show them that this is a vertical move, that they're going to be able to still be independent in the sense that everyone locally feels that they have the independence with the power of a franchise brand. And we want to make sure that, I learned this firsthand, Dan, because when we were building our little independent way back in 2004, something as little as a sales rep agreement. We hire an agent and it's like, well, I got to have a contract for them to sign. Well, where do I get that? So you go to your local board of realtors and see if you can download one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, all of a sudden I got to buy yard signs. Well, where do I go to get yard signs? Where do I go to get this? E&O insurance. Some of these basic fundamental things that you don't think about. And what independents a lot of times don't realize is that if they sit down with a spreadsheet and look at and write down every single thing that they're paying for, I'm going to give you a brokerage in a box. I'm going to give you a franchise model, a track to run on. That's why, McDonald's has been so popular because, red's ketchup and yellow's mustard, and it doesn't get much easier than that. And they've franchised this model that makes it very easy for them to run it and teach it to 16-year-old kids. We've tried to do the same thing in our franchise so that we can bring people in and get them up to speed right away, and then create that vertical move for them to recruit agents into our company so they've got more value. Ultimately, that's what we're looking for.
Do you have any success stories from like zero to hero of maybe different examples? One example could be a conversion, or maybe a brand new office opening, or even there's a lot of people that don't want to open an office, but just join as a team or an agent. Do you have any zero to hero examples?
We do. We've got a bunch of them, and we've got some hero to zeros too. I don't want us to look like, everything's been perfect, but it always boils down to leadership. You can take two broker owners and put them in the same town or just neighboring communities, and one will be highly successful and one won't do as well. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that we sell franchises a lot of times to really good salespeople, people that are really wired to sell. And making that shift from being an active full-time salesperson to becoming a broker owner, which is now a leader in an office, responsible to get more and better out of their real estate agents, recruit agents. It's a tough one.
And the ongoing training. It's almost like a full-time job, just creating that training calendar.
Yeah, it is. And so we do a lot of that stuff, and they plug into our systems, and we provide a lot of that. But it's really a mental mind shift where they've got to go from being the top salesperson. See, this is all about leverage, as I said before, and I'll get to your question about some of our zero to heroes. But This is about leverage. When a broker is out there selling real estate, for example, if you're out selling real estate, Dan, and you get hurt and you can't sell real estate and you're the breadwinner for the company, what happens to your household income? So that's a problem. A mortgage payment still comes due every month, and if you stop for a few months, the bank's going to come and want their house back. So in real estate, what we've tried to do at Exit, again, is leverage, getting an active full-time salesperson, buy a brokerage, and now duplicate yourself and train your agents, everything that made you successful. And now you've got, it's all that whole adage of, do you want 100% of one person's production or 1% of 100 people's production? So we want our brokers to be thinking about leverage, getting all their agents, not just warm bodies to come into an office. We're not interested in body shops. We don't want offices with 50 people in it not doing anything, or a few of them at the top doing all the work and the rest of them going bankrupt. We want them all earning a good income so that they can have choice and opportunity. When you're responsible, Dan, for taking someone from making $15,000 or $20,000 a year and they break $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year, it's an economic mind shift. They just could never see themselves getting out of that rut, or they were comfortable right where they were.
Yeah.
Now they're making $70,000 to $100,000 a year, and they're buying a newer car. They're putting their kids through college. They're buying a rental property. It's a mental mind shift. And once you move into that area of your life, you think differently. But we've had brokers that have come into this company that absolutely were flat broke. I sold a franchise to a guy years ago, one of our best people. His car broke down on the way to the meeting with me, and he didn't have enough money to hardly pay for a car. And now he's one of our biggest brokerages throughout the country.
But he still had the drive.
He had the passion. He had the drive. I saw it in him, and so did some of our other leadership. And we just, we buy into the people. We buy into the person. Not everybody's going to look good on paper, and that's just the way that it is. Everybody's had some kind of skeleton or mischief in their background that was either within or out of their control. But we invest in people. And if I find the right thoroughbred, the right horse, and we put our systems into them, and then we coach them, and we give them love and understanding and support, they'll flourish. But we're not going to do it for them. They have to do it. They've got to step up and come to work every day.
Right.
So we've had a lot of those, hero stories. We've had brokers that have built brokerages that are highly successful with 20 to 25 agents because all their agents are doing over $100,000 a year. Think about that. How cool would it be to have a boutique brokerage with 25 agents where they're all knocking down 80 to 100 grand a year?
Yeah, that'd be a cool office party. The people you hang with matter, and that would be pretty cool.
It does. And that's what's happened within our company. Our company has evolved into this brokerage model where everyone gets along. The culture is just, it's contagious. And people, when there's a vested interest and people feel responsible for bringing someone into the company, like they want to help them, it's not combative anymore. It's not competitive. It's friendly competition where everyone wants to get everyone a little bit better, right? So that's been a blessing for us.
So you have regional events that happen right across the country. If anybody's watching this video and they even just want to get a taste, I'm sure it'd be okay if they just reached out to you and say, hey, I'm in this area. Anything coming up this year? You just let them know. I'm just putting those words in your mouth. Invite them on my behalf, because the people, like, in order to get a true sense of it, you have to actually step in the door to look around.
Well, your mind is like a parachute. It works best when open, right? One of the things that I've learned in life, and I've owned multiple businesses, is that if I wasn't an open-minded business person, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today. When they were telling me about the exit story, in fact, when the guy first started telling us, I'm like, you guys have got a really goofy name, and this sounds like hocus pocus. It sounds like a multi-level marketing thing where I'm going to end up with a bunch of deodorant and soap in my garage, and I'm not going to get anything out of it, right? And when I really started getting into the purpose of this company and why it was built the way it was, it's very easy. It's very easy to be persuaded not to look at it. But my advice to everybody listening today is look at everything, not just exit. Look at every brand and compare them side by side. And don't say, is this better for me? Say, is this better for me and my family? Is this better for me and my family and my agents? Can I create an environment where I can get the most and the best out of other people? And is this taking me where I want to go over the next 5, 10, or 15 years? And if it's not, you need to make a change. But we're always doing regional events. The way that our company grew was by doing 60 minutes with exit events, where we would get up in front of a room of people that were looking at coming aboard, and we tell them the exit story. And we would make it so irresistible and just tell our story. See, life is about telling your story. And the people that tell their story best, the ones that are most competent and they're most passionate about what they do, have the most success because it's believable. They want to be authentic. They don't want to be sold something. It's very easy for us to tell our story because it works. And we have millions and millions and millions of dollars of residual income paid out that have changed people's lives. We have one person actually that has taken their residual income over the years and actually built an orphanage in a third world country. Think about that. Changing lives of young children in another country. It's something that we're very, very passionate and proud about. But these events, when you come in the room and hear our people, all I'll ask you to do is just keep an open mind. Come in and hear what we have to say and really say, is this good for me? Is this something better than what I got right now?
Well, it's definitely a lonely business as far as, like, the agents, when they join an office, they're self-employed. When a brokerage opens up, they still have to do a lot of things on their own. So because it can be so lonely, some people might be feeling like they're hitting a brick wall or like they've already reached their ceiling. What's the best way for a person to reach out and contact you if they just wanted to have an exploratory conversation to see what more and how it could fit them?
Yeah, it is a lonely business. I sell franchises, and a lot of our regional owners sell franchises, and we have some franchise salespeople. There's many nights when you're sitting in a hotel room staring at the ceiling going, geez, why won't people buy into my company? They just think it's too good to be true. And the next thing you know, you go out and have an appointment the next morning, and somebody goes, I get it. I'll take it. When can we close? And it's like, what did I say today that was so different than what I said yesterday? Real estate agents come into this business, and many of them don't know anything about selling real estate. So they're counting on somebody to coach them and mentor them and putting them into a good training system. because of our mentorship program, because of the sponsoring component that we have, as soon as they join the company, they're already joining with somebody that cares about them and they have a vested interest in their success. So my advice is, one thing that we have that's unique out of every other brand is we have mobile business cards. So you can text my last name, which is Witt, W-I-T-T, to the number 85377. So text Witt to 85377. You'll get all my contact information. Then I can connect you with your regional representation or a broker that's in your area that can talk to you. But I can certainly direct all that traffic and get you where you need to be. And again, my advice is don't wait. Do not wait to find out what it is that we have to offer, because from a franchising perspective, we sell protected territories. And when protected territories are gone, they're gone. And we only have so many to go around. From an agent's perspective, we'll pair you up with a broker in your area, or we'll find somebody. Who knows? We have a lot of agents that are getting their broker's license right now. They're in other companies. And the reason they're getting their broker's license is because they want to be on their own. The millennial generation, Dan, as you know, is taking the world by storm. And that generation, in our experience and what we see every day, is that they want to work a little bit less. So they want to work smarter and not harder. They want to have some independence and some ownership, and they want to have residual income so that they can create wealth. That's what they want. We are the perfect model right now for all the millennial generation, the Gen Xers, and all the baby boomers looking to retire. We are the perfect fit, and we solve all those problems. We have the best team structure out there. When you can build a team and get residual income off the team members and have really low fees like we offer. We're not a cheap company, but we are very affordable to belong to. We have some of the lowest fees that belong to our company, and you get a lot of value for what we provide. We run a very lean ship at our corporate office, but all that value goes back to our agents. There is no better company out there to build a team with than ours.
Well, you certainly piqued my interest. Like, I'm in that generation that you're describing. And if I was to open up a brokerage, I would certainly be looking into your business model for sure, because it just, everything we talked about just makes so much sense. So I love how passionate you are and open you are to helping people. I really do hope people do reach out to you with some information gathering, just to have some conversations, maybe go to a regional event, watch some videos or whatever. So I want to say thank you for your time today. And hopefully some people pick up the phone. In the video, I'll type out that you're texting. So it's, say it again, Witt
to 85377.
And you'll get all your contact information. Cool, man. Yeah. Okay, that was a good combo. Hopefully get some people picking up the phone, man.
All right, buddy. Thank you very much.
Talk to you. Bye.
Bye-bye.